right, so here we have Bitcoin, and right now, kind of looks like we're going to roll over. Rolled over here. Now, whether we make a higher low or what is going to be decided if we do go down, if we are rejected by the 50 and the POC point of control and the VPVR here to your right, which measures horizontal volume at a certain price level. So we're going to find out whether, even if we come down to 200, which will be higher by the time we get down there, if we do go down, would still be a higher low. So we have made a higher high. If we don't break this last low, that'll be a higher low. Basically 20,000, I'd even say 20,000 is the very important level right now. Very important. That would signify this would be like a double top. M formation, probably come all the way back down to 19K. Right now your RSI, which is a momentum oscillator, looks like it tapped the bearish control zone. It's trying to stay out of it right now, but we're going to find out whether we get rejected from this signal line or not. If we cross the signal line, I would expect us to come up to the neutral median line here at the 50.0 read, and then probably come back, have a retest of the signal line, and resume up. That's if we go to the upside. All right, MACD. This is the 1 hour, by the way. Finding a little support right here, trying to curl up. But we're going to find out because we have crossed the zero line. Your signal line is crossing the zero line right now. Negative momentum on the histogram is pretty stable. We really need that to pick up in order to move to the downside. If it does go all the way back to the zero line and this MACD crosses that signal line, that would mean that we probably found support here and we'll resume to the up or go to the upside. Right now, your BBWP looks like it's going to cross its moving average to the downside, so we could consolidate here for a little bit. Maybe have your moving averages converge to each other and then find out which way they break and fan out. Let's move on to the 4 hour, and then we're going to talk about the bullish and bearish case. See what I mean? This is kind of looking like a double top, but we could come all the way down to the 50 at 20,250, still make a higher low. Your 100 did just cross your 200, and you have a pretty big fan out right here. You're finding support on the 21 right now at 20,600. So if you break the 21, you're probably going to come down to the 20,300 level, 20,250. Right now, your RSI is below its signal line. We don't have any divergences to be aware of besides this bearish divergence. So we do have divergence from this point to this point, and down here on your RSI, you did make a lower high, so you have bearish divergence there. All right, so, and I don't think that's played out all the way, because right now it's only a 1.5% move. That's what kind of makes me think we could break this 21. I mean, we're finding support on it right now, but of course we are. Of course we're going to find support on a moving average. So we're going to find out. We got an hour and 13 minutes left of this candle. Like I said, if we break the 21, we're probably going down to at least 20,300. If we break that, if we break this last low at 20K, I would expect this to be a double top. I would expect this to be a bull trap. I would expect this to come lower, probably down to 19K, and then even much lower. We are at an inflection point. If we drop below 20K, shit's going to get real ugly, in my opinion. Right now, your MACD got rejected from its signal line, continuing to the downside. Negative momentum is increasing on the histogram. Excuse me. BBWP has collapsed below its moving average. So, I mean, we're basically just going sideways, kind of rolling over right now. We're going to find out what happens in this candle the next hour and 12 minutes. This candle and the next candle would be very important, because if you close below that 21 at about 20,600, that's, we're probably going to go down to 20,300. That's what I said already, telling you the bearish case. Let's move to the 8 hour. All right, so here on your 8 hour, you also have bearish divergence on the RSI. Your MACD looks like it's going to either retest the signal line, but your positive momentum is waning on the histogram, so that means you could cross it. If you do cross it, I mean, you're having a multi-crossover right here, but you're still kind of in a range. You're still kind of in a range, so you got to watch those multi-crossovers because they'll fake you out. All right, so your BBWP looks like it's trying to curl back around. Once it gets back into the upper zone, I would expect, so the upper zone, 50% or above, I would expect the volatility to continue. All right, so let's go to the 12-hour. Once again, bearish divergence. You have bearish divergence on a lot of time frames. Your MACD is curling over. Positive momentum starting to decrease on the histogram. But your BBWP did just cross your moving average to the downside. That doesn't mean that it can't curl back up pretty fast. I mean, because here on the 12-hour, you're basically just going sideways. You know what I'm saying? Let's check the daily real quick. Daily. Let's see here. So you do have bearish divergence on the daily. If this is a confirmed high, which we would have to close back below this candle right here, we'd have to close back below 20,270, basically. I'd even say 20,200. All right, to make this a confirmed high and then confirm that bearish divergence on the daily. We are being held down by the 100 on the daily right now, so we're going to have major resistance here. RSI did get rejected from the bullish control zone. Looks like you're going to make a lower high, and you made a higher high. Or hold on here. No, you didn't do that. But if this is a confirmed high, you will make another higher high. You have two drives of bearish divergence. Right now, your MACD did just cross your zero line. So did this signal line, but your positive momentum looks like it's starting to wane on the histogram. So, and let's see if we have any resistances here. We do have resistance right where we're at. Last point of support on the MACD will become resistance now. BBWP is about to go to the upper zone. So, and it's coming from a very, very low read. Your moving average has a positive slope. You remember that during the last few videos, we said the big move is coming. I think it's coming this week. We're either going to go to 24,500 or we're going to 16K. One of the two. Huge move is coming. Let's see what percentage that would be. So that's a 20% move to the upside. And it's a 20% move to the downside. And I do think it's coming this week. All right, so your moving averages look like your 21 and your 50s trying to curl up, but remember you're in a range. So watch those moving averages. They'll fake you out. If we do break below this 21, basically 20K, like I said, that's where your 50 and your 21's coming in at on the daily. You break below 20K, 16K is my next target. I mean, and the probabilities are highly in favor of 16K if we break 20K. If we break 20K. I would like to check the weekly real quick. So you're in the bearish control zone, but you did just get a retest of your signal line and cross to the upside. MACD, fresh cross to the upside. Positive momentum is increasing a bit. BBWP is going back down for a low read. So as the price action is moving up, the BBWP is basically just, I mean, we're basically just going sideways here on the weekly. I mean, from the 20,800 region to 18.8. So that, I mean, that's basically, and we're still in a range between, 24,350. That's what I'm saying. If we go to the upside, I would expect this to just get to the top of the range and then break back down. And then the bottom of the range here is at like 18.8. All right. Let's go down to the 1 hour again, talk about the bullish and bearish cases. So if we break this last high, 20,900, the next target is 23,600. That is my next target to the upside. That would also imply that this RSI here gets above its signal line and the neutral median line. So it gets above that 50.0 level. And your MACD finds support here, crosses its signal line to the upside and gets back above the zero line. So we need to get above 20,000. Check this out, 20,976 in order to get above that zero line. That's the level we was just talking about. So yeah, I mean, you got it right there. Break this last high, 1976, 1981, I would even say. So basically in that region. So if you can break 21K to the upside, that's when that 24 or 24,500 comes into play. Was that the level? 23,600. All right, so that would come into play there. If you break this last low at 20,600, that's when I expect us to come down to 20,300, or 20,300 first. Get a bounce there. If we can't get back above our breakdown point and the 50, or I'd even say the 100, I would expect us to break the 200 as well at 20K. We're at an inflection point, like I said. A lot's going to depend on this week, and this week is when it's happening, in my opinion. We have economic data coming out. That's going to add to the volatility. So definitely stay nimble in the current market conditions right now. All right, so there's your bullish and bearish case for Bitcoin. If you guys like this video so far, like and subscribe to the channel. Check out the links in the description below, one being the Discord. It is the place to be. We talk about these moves right before they happen a lot of the times. We figure out this market collectively. It is one of the best Discords around. We have about 100 members now, very active, growing fast. And yeah, definitely check out the Discord. Let's go over here. So right now, even on your stochastic, you have bearish divergence, and I don't think it's played out already. I do think, see, look at this. This next order block is at 20,300. Also where your middle band is, your basically your 20 SMA right here. Your middle band, your Bollinger Bands. You are getting rejected from a bearish supply order block. Stochastic's pointing to the downside. We're on the 8-hour right now, by the way. Signal line's pointing to the downside. Looks like you're losing your downside curvature a little bit, but that's happened before. I mean, you know, look right here. Let's see. I mean, we have plenty of examples. But also, looks like you could be making some sort of a triple top on your stochastic, leaving the overbought region and coming down pretty hard. So you do have support right here at your stochastic, right where we're at. And that's kind of probably why we're losing our downside curvature a bit. But if you do break that, I do think you break this last low at basically the 50% level. So that'd be your neutral median line. All right. So then you come down to 45. That's basically your bearish control zone. That's where I would expect us to enter if we break this last low. All right. So yeah, that's about it for Bitcoin. Let's move on to Ethereum. Let's see here. And here. So Ethereum, pretty similar story, being held up by the 100 right now. RSI in the bearish control zone. And their signal line's coming down to the top of the bearish control zone. I probably would expect a little bounce and get to the top of the bearish control zone. But then if we break this last low on the RSI, I expect us to get deep into the bearish control zone. MACD, fresh cross to the downside of the zero line, signal line as well. Oh, sweet. I just got hit on a trade. BBWP is coming to the downside, coming from the upper zone. But I do expect it to turn around. I do expect the volatility to continue. This one's pretty clear cut. You break the 100 at 1570, probably going to come down to about 15, I'd say 1500. Yeah. So you break 1570, you're probably coming to 1500. If you can break the 21 and get this 21 and this 50 to curl back up at basically 1600, which is going to be major resistance, I would expect the next stop to be about 1700. All right. And I mean, that one's pretty clear cut. If you break this last low, which is probably where the 200 is going to be by the time you get there at about, like I said, 1500, I would expect you to come down to 1350 if you break this last low and the 200. All right. And if you can break 17 on a closure, on an 8-hour closure, I would like to see 1900 is the next level. All right. Let's go to the 4-hour. Check this out. All right, so no divergence. Actually, you do. You have bearish divergence, two drives of bearish divergence. MACD, fresh retest and cross to the downside of the signal line. Negative momentum is increasing on the histogram, but your BBWP just crossed its moving average. Both of them have negative slopes. That happened as the price action's going to the downside. So on Ethereum, it kind of looks like a correction. You're being held up by the 21 right now, but if you break the 21, like I said, at 1570, probably going to come down around this last low at 1500. All right, let's move to the 8-hour. So we are in the bullish control zone, but once again, we have bearish divergence on the 8-hour. If we break this last low and leave the bullish control zone, I expect us to come all the way down to the neutral median line on the RSI. MACD looks like it's going to try to get across to the downside because your positive momentum on the histogram is decreasing almost to the zero line now. So if we start printing dark red bars on the histogram, I would expect this to cross the signal line to the downside. Right now, your BBWP has a positive slope. Moving average needs to catch up a bit, but you are in the upper zone. So here on the 8-hour, like I said, we are going to get a big ass move this week. Your 50 is trying to cross your 200, which would be a golden cross. But we will see, because Ethereum looks a little better than Bitcoin right now, to be honest. So we're going to find out. But if Bitcoin goes down, Ethereum will probably go with it. All right. So I would expect a bounce at 1525, 1530, 1525. But if we break the 21, I would expect us to come down to the 1500 mark and then decide whether we're going to make a higher low or not. All right, let's go to the daily. Daily, you're in the bullish control zone. You just got into it, but are you going to make an M pattern? If you fall below this last low and get out of the bullish control zone, I would expect a small bounce at the signal line, but I would expect you to break it to the downside. MACD, fresh cross to the upside of the zero line. Positive momentum on the histogram is increasing, but it looks like it's waning a bit right now, printing a light green bar. BBWP is probably going to touch this upper zone. That's what I'm saying. The big move is here. It's coming. That doesn't mean that it's going to be all to the upside, though. I mean, we could break down here. You know, your 21's trying to cross your 50 right now. If both of those cross the 100, we're probably going to break the 200. We're probably going to go up to about 2100. That would be the big move. So that would be from here. That'd be a 30% move. Okay, 30% to the downside. It's going to be like 16 to get back down to the bottom. Nope, 20. 20 to get back down to the bottom of the previous range. That's where I would expect us to go. Honestly, I want to switch this to go this way. That's what I would be looking at right there. So that would be the zone. It actually lines up with our previous highs. Let's go ahead and get rid of this box. We do need to clean this chart up a bit, but if we do break to the upside, I want to have all these resistance levels on here. So yeah, I mean, let's see here. Let's go back down to the 1 hour, talk about the bullish and bearish case. Pretty clear cut. You break 21, about 1600. You're probably going to go up and test these last highs at about 1650. Now, whether we break these last highs or not on a 1 hour closure is going to be decided. Now, if we break the 100, 1570, I would expect us to come down to 1500. Probably around where the 200 is going to come up as we go down. Okay, now those are the bullish and bearish cases. Let's move on to Solana. Actually, let's go to Ethereum here real quick. So it looks like you're getting rejected from the top side. Bollinger Band kind of front ran a little bit. Your 8 hour stochastic is pointed to the downside. So is your signal line. Now, you do have bullish divergence here. See, that's what I'm saying. Ethereum looks a little better. But Bitcoin breaks down, Ethereum's still going to break down too. So I'd like to see, you know, on the 8 hour, if you can break this last high, actually at 1633, even on a 1 hour closure, I would expect us to come up to about 1700. Like I was saying, 1700, which is the top of this demand order block, which is a bullish order block. and then we'll come back to it. All right, so let's move on to Solana. So here on Solana, bouncing off that 200 and the top of our purple zone at $32. We've had this purple zone mapped out for like weeks. But your signal line's right at the top of the bearish control zone. That's going to be major resistance. But if you can break that, I would even expect you to break the neutral median line and work your way up to this last high on the RSI. That's if. All right, now your MACD, fresh cross to the downside. Looks like it's curling a bit, but you're going to find a little support here. Negative momentum on the histogram is decreasing a bit, but it's pretty stable. Signal line even crossed to the downside of that zero line as your BBWP is contracting. All right, so we could consolidate here for a while on the top of this purple zone, being held up by the 100. You break the 100 at 30, we'll say $32 on a 1 hour closure. I'd expect you to come all the way down to the bottom of the box at about 30.72 region, where this 200 is going to work its way up by the time we would get down there. All right, let's go to the 4 hour. 4 hour, let's see here. No divergences. RSI. Come on, TradingView. RSI below its signal line, curling back up a little bit, finding some support here at these last highs. And we're going to find out because if it crosses this neutral median line, I would expect a small bounce at the bearish control zone at the 45.0 level and then enter it. I would expect the bounce there, maybe up to the neutral median line, maybe up to its signal line, and then enter the bearish control zone. BBWP across its moving average is contracting in a lower zone. So like I said, we can consolidate on top of this purple box here for a minute. Maybe being held up by the 4 hour 21 or basically the 4 hour 21 and the 1 hour 100. All right, so let's move to the 8 hour. 8 hour left the bullish control zone. Yeah, so you got rejected from the bullish control zone twice. Now you're below your signal line. Are we going to get a bounce up to that signal line and then come down? Or are we going to cross it? If we do cross it, I would expect us to come back up to the bullish control zone and then we come back to it. Because if we make a head and shoulders on the bullish control zone, that's not going to look too good. Especially if we break back down below that signal line afterwards. MACD curling over. You can see it already. Curling over. If it crosses its signal line, I would expect some dark red bars on this histogram. And then I would expect us to break down below the 100 and the 21 right here, which is at about 31.50. If we break below that, I do expect us to come down to the 30.70 region. All right. BBWP is in the upper zone, but it just crossed its moving average to the downside, and your moving average has a negative slope. Like I said, we can consolidate, grind out this area here for a minute, and then come back to it. Let's go to the daily. Here on the daily, we did exit the bearish control zone, got your bounce off the neutral median line, headed back up. If you cross this neutral median line and this signal line, I would expect you to enter the bearish control zone and go deep, and that would be the breakdown point. MACD is coming up to the zero line, but this is going to be major resistance. Okay, so if we can cross it and get your signal line above there, that's going to put the probabilities in your favor of going to the upside. You did front run the 20 or the 100 and this purple zone at about 34.20. All right, region. Oh, bitch. All right, so if we can break that, $35, I would expect us to come all the way up to the 200 at 44.50, possibly 44. By the time we get up there, the 200 will probably be down to 44. But that would be the move. And look at the daily. Crossed its moving average, heading into the upper zone, expanding drastically. The move is here, okay? Your daily is coming up, like I said, up on that 200. We start printing light green bars on this histogram. That's not going to look good. Pay attention to that. So let's move to the order blocks and Stokes. Your Stokes, let's see here. No divergences. but hold on. Nope. But your Stokes are curling back up. But are we just going to get a retest of the signal line and resumption down? So if we do break the low that we're at right now at the 56.01, or just we'll say 56.3. All right, if you do break this last low on the stochastic, I would expect you to come down into the bearish control zone and then break down to about, let's see here. Let's see what we got. I would expect you to break down all the way to here, $28, if we do go to the downside. Basically, these last lows and this green box. I would expect to bounce there. You got your bottom side Bollinger Band there as well right now. This is on the 8-hour, by the way. That would be what I'd be looking at right there. So, once again, if you guys like this video, like and subscribe to the channel. Check out the links in the description below. Check out Bybit. Bybit's a good exchange. That's where I trade on. And it's pretty good. You get free crypto. I get free crypto. And definitely join the Discord. It's the place to be, man. I'm telling you. Everyone have a great morning, great afternoon, great evening. And I will see you tomorrow.